Welcome back to KGSM-TV. I'm Ashley Luthons.
And I'm Reese Payne.
Graduation is a big milestone for college students. Let's take a look at our future Missouri Western graduates picking up their caps and gowns.
GradFest was this Wednesday, April 12th, in the Spratt lobby. This is an event for students who are graduating to come pick up their cap and gown. This is a major monument for some students' lives.
What's good about GradFest is any of our students that are completing their undergraduate degree, they check in, they receive their graduation garb, and then they're free to walk about here and speak with a number of representatives from the university, me being one representing the graduate school. If they're interested in continuing their education into graduate school, we have a number of programs that we can guide them towards, and also university services that are there for the students even after their graduation.
I feel this is a huge stepping stone personally in my life. I'm a first generation student, so it's just huge, especially from where I come from, my family background. It's just a huge thing to be able to not only create but break generational curses as well. So I feel pretty good, and you always feel better when you know you work for something. So this is a great honor. I do feel like it was a great opportunity to come in and speak to people today. There was some questions I had leading up to graduation that I wasn't too sure about. So to have people here to give you that one-on-one direct message in person is helpful.
Reporting for KGSM-TV, this is Reese Payne.
Congratulations to all our future Missouri Western graduates.
This Wednesday, in an event hosted by Griffin Activity Programming, comedian Azim brought some laughs to Missouri Western's campus. Azim is a comedian from St. Louis that has toured with Dave Chappelle, amongst others, and continues to bring comedy around the world. Appearing this Wednesday in Spratt 101, Azim left the audience feeling joyful throughout his set. Through lots of audience interaction, Azim had an entertaining show that brought some students laughter towards the end of the semester. We can't wait to see what Griffin Activity Programming has in store for Missouri Western.
We are getting very close to the end of this semester. It is very important that everyone finishes up with passing grades. If you are struggling and need help passing a class, here are a few tips.
To make an appointment here in the Center for Academic Support, you can call the CAS to figure out a math or writing appointment in person or online. And you can schedule online through our program called Tutor Track in order to get a content appointment. Content appointments would be anything from science to history, psychology, music, all of that. Those are all one-on-one or group sessions based on the tutor schedule. Tutoring is very important because you need to pass your classes. That is the goal of college, right? Pass your classes, get your degree. We have peer tutors who have passed their classes that they're tutoring with a B or better. They've been recommended by faculty. They go through a lot of training to make sure that they know how to help you understand the material in that course. And we're really just here as that resource to supplement what you are learning in class. If you have questions, please come and visit us. We are located next to the library, Hearns 213. We have our own door, but we're the same building as the library. And you can always give us a call, or you can check out our website for more information.
The Center for Academic Support had helped me increase my grades at the end of the semester. I started going there towards the end of the semester because my grades were slacking, but I ended up passing all of my classes. I recommend people go there.
For all of your end-of-semester tutoring needs, visit the Center for Academic Support.
Make sure that you take advantage of all the resources we have available here on campus to pass your classes. We'll be right back after this break.
The Missouri Department of Conservation is located on Missouri Western's campus at 701 James McCarthy Drive. All you have to do is open the door and walk in. Once in, you will see all the sorts of animals, live animals, and rawr. Anyways, here's another snake. And a fish, so cute. Outside, you can see ponds, trees, and walking trails. There are even activities for kids. Stop by sometime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Go Griffs!
Hi, I'm Teresa Harrington. I am the founder of Creatures by Teresa, and what we do is we have a small animal rescue that we take in all the small animals, no dogs and cats, rabbits, reptiles, fish, birds, things like that. We have a Facebook page, we have a website, and we have put all our animals up for adoption on Pet Finder, so that way people can see what we have up for adoption. But our adoption events and our library and school programs are our greatest fundraisers right now. We also do things like we will bring animals to birthday parties and things like that, so the kids can get an up close personal experience with some of the animals that they may not.
Welcome back. Here are the top stories from this past week. A Massachusetts Air National Guardman by the name of Jack Teixeira was arrested by the FBI on Thursday. According to Attorney General Merrick Garland, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. He added that the Teixeira case is an ongoing investigation and he will appear in the District Court of Massachusetts in the future. Fort Lauderdale just experienced their rainiest day in city's history this past week. On Wednesday, Fort Lauderdale received nearly 26 inches of rainwater in a 24-hour period. A 1 in 1,000 rainfall event led to a flash flood warning throughout Board County and caused the temporary closing of the Fort Lauderdale Airport through this morning. Be sure to tune in to KGSM-TV again next week to get up to date with news stories.
April has many international, national, and regional dedications to its name. Today we will be focusing on autism awareness as it is the World Autism Awareness Month. Autism or autism spectrum disorder is defined as a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication, according to autismspeaks.org. Autism can look different amongst different people because there are several subtypes which are all related to environmental and genetic factors. Autismspeaks.org further explains how you can typically spot signs of autism in a child between the ages of 2 and 3. It is good to be able to recognize these conditions and behaviors because research has stated that early intervention tends to lead to positive outcomes later in life, according to autismspeaks.org. Not only could this mean helping people with autism have a better quality of life and independence, but neurotypical people could gain a better understanding and have better relationships with autistic people. To learn more about autism and the community, you can go to autismspeaks.org. After this break, Harry and Kanan bring back the Griffin Sports Roundtable.
Hello, welcome to the esports arena. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so you're just letting everyone in? Yeah.
Looking for a place to hang out, game, or just relax? The Griffin Esports Arena is open to all students. Head on over today.
Welcome back to KGSM Sports. I'm Harry Loomis.
And I'm Kanan Bielvatz. With the NHL playoffs quickly approaching, me and Harry, we decided to switch it up this time. This time I'm asking him the questions, and he's the one answering it. Harry, you ready?
I'm ready. Put me through the ringer. Let's go.
All right, Harry. Boston Bruins, best team in the league this season, set the league record with 65 wins and 135 points. Where did this come from after people thought this would be an end of an era for them after last year's disappointment?
Yeah, they the past couple years looked like they were trending downwards. Looked like we were going to kind of see the end of this Boston Bruins core. You know, some of their main guys, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci just retired. Those guys on the wrong side of 30. Kind of thought it was going to be the end of an era. Tuukka Rask also retiring. But man, they've turned the clock back. Jim Montgomery was the perfect hire for this team. This guy's kind of battled through some issues, but he was a great coach in Dallas. Did great things for the Blues power play. Getting a chance to head coach for an outstanding Bruins team. And you see the results, 65 wins, league record, 135 points, league record. David Pastrnak, man, what can you say about this guy? This guy, we've always talked about him as one of the elite goal scorers in the league. This year, out of nowhere, he puts up 60, earned that 8-year, $90 million contract worth every single penny. The Bruins had a great contract for him. He was earning his payday, absolutely earned every cent. But the piece de resistance, Linus Ullmark, no one really knew what to expect with Linus Ullmark, Jacob Swayman combo for the Bruins. Ullmark, 49 games, a sub-2 goals against average, 189, a .938 save percentage. He's probably going to win the Vezina Trophy. Now, I'm curious to see how he does transitioning to the playoffs, but that's the best goaltending duo in the NHL, the best goalie by a mile, and this team is built to make a deep playoff run. They've shown it before. As a Blues fan, we saw what they were able to do in 2019.
We definitely did.
Some of those pieces are still there, and they're hungrier than ever. Incredible year.
100% right, Harry. But transitioning now, Connor McDavid, 64 goals, 153 points, the most since the 1995-1996 season. Is this the season? Is this the best we've seen of him, the best we're going to see out of him, or is there more to come?
I don't think there's any reason to suggest that there's not more to come. He's only 26 years old, which is unbelievable to think about. 153 points, the most in a season since Mario Lemieux, like you mentioned, in 95-96. Just for comparison, McDavid, 153 points. His teammate Leon Draisaitl, second in the league with 128, which is incredible. That's a 25-point difference between first and second. That's the equivalent to Draisaitl at second and ninth place Mikko Rantanen with 103. That's an incredible difference. I would make the argument right now that Connor McDavid is more dominant in his sport than any athlete in any sport right now. You can make the argument, in basketball, there's a couple different players that you can argue is the best player. I would argue it's Giannis. It's not unanimous. MLB, I think Shohei Ohtani is the best. That's pretty consensus, but it's not unanimous, and it's not as clear-cut. Mike Trout's right there. Aaron Judge is right there. In the NFL, you're always going to debate quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is probably the best in the league. People are going to argue Jalen Hurts. People are going to argue Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, you name it. They're going to argue it. In the NHL, McDavid is so dominant that no one even makes an argument who the second best player is because they're so far behind what this guy's doing. He is quite possibly the most gifted hockey player we have ever seen. He has 3 years left on his contract. He's on a team that could win the cup right now. And last year in the playoffs, he elevated his game in the playoffs. He was almost a 2-point-a-game player the regular season this year. He was an above 2-point-a-game player last year in the playoffs, 33 points in 16 games. The sky is the absolute limit for this kid. He is incredible.
Like you said, I think he is the number one option in all sports. I mean, like you said, NBA, everything is all compacted into one complex ranking. But Connor McDavid, from what I've seen of him, the best I've ever seen as well.
It's just hard. He's just got some skills you can't teach. You can't teach speed. You can't teach just the awareness, the IQ that he has. Just the way he's able to skate through 5 guys, making it look effortless. It's just something you've never seen before. He's completely changing the way hockey's being played.
And something that you mentioned, I really want us to touch up on. You said Connor McDavid, 153 points. His teammate, second place. The scoring was all over the place in the NHL this year. 11 players with 100 points or more. Of these 11 players, who stands out the most?
Well, to me, there's 2 guys that stick out in particular. One is Nathan MacKinnon. I talked about no one really cares who the second best player is. If you ask me who I thought the second best is, I would argue Nathan MacKinnon because he's incredible in the playoffs. He's always got it done. Finally got that Stanley Cup last year with the Colorado Avalanche. This year, he was injured a little bit. That whole Avalanche team has been injured. MacKinnon only played 69 games. Cale Makar, the best D-man in the league, arguably, only played about 60. Gabriel Landeskog, their captain, missed the entire season. They just found out he's going to miss the playoffs. Still, in 69 games, MacKinnon put up 107 points, had never reached the 100-point plateau before. All the injuries and all the issues he's dealt with, he's still as good as he's ever been. Helps that his teammate Mikko Rantanen put up 103, like I mentioned, with that Leon Draisaitl stat. But an incredible season for MacKinnon. Who knows what he's going to be able to do in the playoffs. Secondly, Erik Karlsson. This guy was the best defenseman in the 2010s for the Ottawa Senators. He's battled through a lot of injuries. People thought, we kind of seen the best days were kind of behind him. He's got a big contract with the Sharks. They're not doing too well, bit overpriced. He puts up 100 points this year. No defenseman has put up 100 points since Brian Leach back in the 90s with the New York Rangers. That dude is it's unbelievable to see him turn the clock back the way he's been able to. He can pass, he can shoot from the point, he can get to the net and score. He's doing it in so many different ways. And, as a guy that just loves hockey, loves going back and watching replays, it's cool to see him turn the clock back to, his best performance, in my opinion, was the 2016-17 playoffs. He was unbelievable back then. He's putting up that kind of performance this year, and it's been really cool to see. It's too bad that the Sharks aren't better, though.
I think they'll get better in the couple seasons. But, all right, first round, what are some key matchups that you really want to see play out?
Well, first off, I think the playoffs this year are loaded. The East, in particular, is about as loaded of a bracket as I've ever seen in a long time watching hockey. 3 series stick out to me. The first one on the West Coast is a rematch of last year. That's the LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. The Kings gave the Oilers everything they could handle last year in that first round series. The Oilers took it in 7 games. McDavid put it on his shoulders in the third period of that game 7. put the game away. But both of these teams are built well. The Kings had a very good acquisition at the deadline in Eunice Corpusalo. The Oilers got Matthias Ekholm, a huge addition to the defense. Let's see what those teams can do. Both of those, I think, can make a run at the Cup. If they make it through this first round, it's going to be a dogfight, but it'll be interesting to see. Second series, Tampa Bay taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Of course.
Everyone wants to know, is this the year the Leafs can make the second round? I think this is as good a year to do it. Kyle Dubas' job is on the line if they don't win. The Lightning are on the downturn. They didn't get 100 points this year for the first time in feels like forever. And this Leafs team, Mitch Marner is playing at an unbelievable level. William Nylander's got 40 goals. This is the time. If there's ever going to be a year for them to do it, this is it. Austin Matthews is a free agent after next year. You got to get it done right now. And the third one, the Devils taking on the New York Rangers. The Rangers did as much as anybody this year, the trade deadline, getting Tarasenko from the Blues and Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks. The Devils are the biggest surprise in the league this year. So many great young pieces, Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes, the brothers, being the centerpiece of this resurgence. Let's see what they're going to be able to do. And, you mentioned some underrated and overrated teams. I think the most underrated team for me is Dallas. Dallas on paper, not too exciting. Jason Robertson's been incredible, but the big thing for them is their head coach, Peter DeBoer. It's his first year at the helm. Every team he's been to, first year, always goes on a deep run. Went to the finals with the Devils, went to the finals with the Sharks, went to 2 conference finals with the Golden Knights. Let's see what the Stars can do this year. They made the finals just 3 years ago in the bubble. And overrated team, I think the most overrated team in the playoffs is the Vegas Golden Knights. They're the first seed in the West, but we've seen this year after year after year with them. Nothing this year makes me think that they're anything special. They're battling through injuries. Jack Eichel's maybe their premier player. He's never played in the playoffs before. Let's see what he's able to do. Are they going to be able to get Mark Stone back into the lineup? Is their goaltending going to be good enough? They got Jonathan Quick at the deadline. Is that going to be enough to get them over the top in a loaded Pacific Division? Because if they win, they're playing either the Kings or the Oilers in that second round. That's going to be a dogfight, whoever they play.
And before we move on to your predictions, I really want to ask you, Seattle Kraken, second year in the ever since the expansion draft, makes the playoffs. What do you think about them?
I think it's a really good story. I don't think a lot of people knew what to expect from them. First year, kind of hard to expect. Matty Beniers has been an unbelievable rookie this year. He's going to win the Calder going away, above a point-a-game player. It's cool to see. I don't think you can have too high of expectations. They're going to play either the Colorado Avalanche or the Dallas Stars in that first round, depending on who wins that Central Division. I don't think it's fair to have too high of expectations for them, but it's definitely a good story. I think Seattle's going to be rocking games 3 and 4 for sure.
Good story, and they're probably going to be set for the future. All right, give me your finals preview and who is going to win the Conn Smythe Award trophy.
Thank you. That's a tough one. There's in the East in particular, I think pretty much all 8 teams could win it. You look at every single team there. I think every single one has an argument, has something that can break their way. I'm going to go with the team that made the most noise in the deadline. That's the New York Rangers, making it out of the East. They've got one of the best teams on paper. Igor Shesterkin's the best goalie in the league. Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider. They got an unbelievable core before they got Tarasenko and Kane. Can guys like Capo Caco and Alexis Lafreniere, 2 young potential superstars, finally break through and emerge as key contributors? I think this is the year for them to do it. They're going to make it out of the East. And on the West, I'm going to pick the Edmonton Oilers. They made the conference finals last year. McDavid and Draisaitl are going to have another unbelievable run. We're going to see the Oilers and the Rangers face off in the finals. And the Cup is going to go back to Madison Square Garden. I've got the New York Rangers winning the Stanley Cup final. My Conn Smythe winner, he's been electrified in the playoffs. Scored an OT winner in Game 7 last year against the Penguins. I'm going to take the Breadman. Artemi Panarin is going to win your Conn Smythe trophy.
That's great picks, Harry, but I noticed that you didn't mention the Bruins. What do you think is going to be their Achilles heel, if any, of such a strong team?
I think if anything, it's going to be just the East itself. It's such a dogfight. They came in so hot. Part of me wonders if it's going to have that Golden State Warriors effect, They played so hard at the end of the year trying to get that 73 wins. They seemingly ran out of gas a little bit at the end of that series against the Cavaliers. I wonder if that's going to have an effect on them. Like I mentioned, they're one of the older teams, guys like Marchand, Bergeron, David Krejci. They're battle-tested, which could be a good thing, but can also be what breaks them. Is Linus Ullmark going to be enough for them? There's a couple of phenomenal goalies, like I mentioned. Ilya Sorokin for the Islanders, if they would match up. They're lucky they didn't face the Islanders in the first round. That'd be a really tough matchup for them. But they have to go through Tampa Bay or Toronto if they make it out of the second round. And then Metropolitan is a complete buzzsaw. Never know what can happen in there.
Never know what can happen. All we can do is just wait and see. I mean, pretty much, that's all we can do.
It's pretty much all we can do. It's going to be fun.
It will. After the break, we'll be right back to end up the show.
As fun as college is, it can be a really stressful time.
It's easy to feel alone.
Even in full classrooms, sometimes it still feels like you have no one.
It's especially easy to feel isolated during these crazy times.
It's hard to recognize the signs when you don't know them.
Don't be afraid to reach out and get help.
There are always ways to get help on campus.
The Counseling Center is always ready to work with you.
There's also lots of ways to get help off campus.
There are several different hotlines you can reach out to.
Make sure to check in on your friends and family.
Keep an eye out for the signs.
There's no shame in recognizing that you're struggling.
There's no shame in asking for help.
There is no shame in taking care of yourself.
You and your mental health are the priority.
See the signs. Take action.
Take action.
Take action.
Take action.
Take action.
Take action.
I'd really encourage, if you need to talk to someone, reach out to us. That's what we're here for.
Coming up on Friday, April 21st, we will have our usual segments such as top stories in history, as well as other campus news stories.
And Kenan and I will recap Griffin Athletics, and we will preview the NBA playoffs.
Be sure to stay up to date with all things KGSM-TV by following us on our Facebook and YouTube pages. We'll see you again on Friday. Have a good day, everyone.